I just will never understand how I waste so much time either when I wake up and my alarm has like 5 minutes before it goes off, and I just do not get up immediately. Instead, I stay in bed just flipping and turning. And then when I do get up early, like an hour and a half early, or an hour and 35 minutes early, I'm still not up and running. I don't know why. I can't explain why, but the winter makes it particularly difficult because I don't leave my heater running. So when I open my eyes and the perception of my surroundings returns to my body, it's like, no, I'm not leaving this bed. So, anyways, hi, yeah. So, the point that I was getting ready to make is the reason I'm like 7 minutes late to this stream is freaking phone. Can you? I'm not gonna mess with it. It's because my bladder decided to get nervous. And I'm like, good. I'm glad that this is happening before the live stream because it would be awkward for me to be, hey guys, so I need to take a bathroom break. But that's the beauty of live. You just don't know what's going to happen. And then I was telling myself, ooh, all I have to do is just set my phone right here, turn on the camera, and stuff will just to work. And I'm like, no, I gotta make myself comfortable. I gotta like put use my bed sheets, wrap myself around them, and I'm just like wasting another 2 minutes. So I do so terrible with time nowadays, and I'm so disappointed because I used to be one of those people who's like really punctual no matter what. So, anyways, I was just about to ask when you were doing a bit. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, a sister is just struggling with time, but whatever. You like the hoodie? Thanks a lot. This is honestly me concealing a terrible hair day, cause I haven't put anything on it, so it just looks, there we go. It just, it's very frizzy. And then I don't want to put oil on it today because oil makes it get dirty faster. And it's way too cold for me to wash it. So I'm not trying to get sick again. So, but anyways, I was gonna have like some kind of Darth Maul intro, but I said I don't know any lines from him or anything. So I said to myself, yeah, I'm just gonna wear this and keep my head warm. So I like natural though, and it's cold. Southerners hate the cold. You know what? I personally like the cold weather better for one reason, really, and it's because there are solutions for it. Like, you can wrap yourself in many, many, many layers, apply a crap ton of lotion, drink loads of water, which the goal is for me to finish this mug by the end of the stream. If this is not finished, I cannot end the stream. So this video may run for like 5 hours. So you must accept that because I know that this is not going to go well for me. But anyways, the goal is for me to drink that. As I was saying, I like the cold because I can sleep better during cold weather. When it's hot, it's not only hot, it's hot and sticky. And you're also sweating. And there's also bugs and all kinds of uncomfortable things happening. So, at least for the cold, everything bad in life is dead, like bugs. And I fall asleep so much faster. Like, I have not lost a single night's sleep from it being too cold. The only time I have issues with the cold is if my hands or my feet get terribly frozen. That's when I have to really make myself more comfortable. But I'll take the cold weather over the hot weather any day because what can you do during the hot weather? Like running the air conditioner for me it's kind of irritating because my nose gets stuffy, and um, it's just a really unnatural way to cool yourself down for me. And then don't even get me started on that weird smell that every air conditioner has when you start running it, no matter how clean your filter is. And then there's also the fact that, say, something that I started trying to toward the end of this summer was I would take my sheets and throw them in the freezer, like 5 hours prior to going to sleep, and then of course I put them in a plastic bag first, and it felt amazing to sleep with that and then have the fan on and everything. But once that chill of the sheets runs out, it's like you're back to misery. So let me see what you guys are saying. Uh, I like fall season when being outside. Yes, drink water. I like to sleep when it's cold though. Yeah, the best sleep for me comes during the cold weather. Um, and I like spring better than fall. Um, but what I hate about spring is that sometimes you don't really have a smooth transition from winter to spring. Sometimes it gets super hot on the days leading up to the spring. And I'm like, really? I was looking forward to the season. What was wrong with me? Um, let's see. What else are you saying? Um, hello, Lord, help me. No pests, no bacteria. Exactly. The only really downside to the cold is when I take a shower, I have to ensure that my room is warm enough because otherwise I'll catch a near fatal cold. And then there's also the fact that you have to wake up a little earlier so that you can defrost and thaw your car if you have to garage it outdoors. Um, and then when your utilities also freeze, like sometimes I have to leave my faucet dripping overnight because otherwise I'll wake up in the morning and no water is coming out, and it's because um, everything froze up. And if I sound a little out of it, it's because I had a super long day. I'm tired, and I really didn't eat a very balanced meal today. I just had two slices of pizza for lunch, a yogurt, a biscuit in the morning, chicken biscuit, and then I had a plain spinach salad with parmesan. Like, what I mean by plain is I don't load it up like I usually do. I only did a little bit of olive oil, parmesan cheese, and the spinach, of course. So yeah, but I'll get hyped in a second. I just need to like get into it. I need a second. Let's see. What else are you guys saying? And I'm still tripping at the fact that this phone keeps sliding. Mr. Bear, let's put you aside. Let's see. You are so pretty to me. Good thing you're not married yet. Just because I'm not married doesn't mean you have hope. DH. Yes, I'm going to totally be sassy at you. But the cold gets rid of the bugs. Yep. Heat makes me sick. I lived in New York and regret leaving to come to Georgia. See, I tried New Jersey and I visited New York. This is back in 2007. The worst time in my life was being in New York. I think it was the area surrounding Manhattan. I remember that there's a bridge there somewhere, but I don't remember the name of the bridge because that was my first and only time in New York outside the airport. And I somehow found myself at 4 o'clock over there in that whatever city that was, and there were cars everywhere, more cars than people, and just more people than open space almost. And I said, I am never coming here again. And lo and behold, I haven't been there since. Only to if I have a flight and I have to stop there, then yeah. But yeah, no New York for this girl. I don't run the AC unless it's 90 degrees, unless my sons are with me. Then I will keep it cool. Unit suck. I think it's unnatural. I like to keep my windows open year round. You know, I would love to keep my windows open, but I have seen so many strange living beings out there that I'm like, I'm not interested in monitoring my windows to make sure that nothing comes in. So even though they have screens and whatnot, it's just not my thing. So I wish I could take more advantage of that, but I just don't want to deal with any pest situation. Um, let's see. Yeah, and then the thing about the AC, it's that depending on the structure of your home, you can be waiting an hour to feel anything. And unfortunately, the apartment that I'm in, it's terrible. So, yeah. I'm moving to Florida next summer. Well, good luck with that. I can't say that I would do that. It's just pretty much New York, Florida, places like that is they don't draw me. Why are you not drinking water? Well, because prior to initiating this stream, I did have a separate glass of water. So I feel pretty good right now, but it's coming. People don't realize being cold means you need more water. That's true. Um, like, the good thing is that my face tells me all the time how much water I need because it's like any muscle movement in my face feels like so forced and so dry, and I can feel like my skin cracking that it's like, okay, I am way beyond the safe dehydration level, if there is such a thing. You know, you can be severely dehydrated or just barely dehydrated or the beginning stages of dehydration, but you know what I mean. Um you made my day, to be honest. I'm kidding. I like sassy. I have hope. Well, and on that note, even if I was single, I can't say that I would mess with a guy like you because you automatically disqualified yourself by having kids. I believe that I have taken care of myself to not have kids, so I deserve to start a fresh family. Like, I don't have anything against the children of men like that they already have. It's just that me in this stage, I want to have a solid foundation, and for me, I cannot date a guy who already has kids because you're already bound to another woman, and having to deal something with another woman is already a terrible idea because not only is the other woman, but it's also the other woman's family, the other woman's friends. Like, no, no. So that's a video that I've been meaning to make. I think I mentioned it one time, but I don't think I've gone in depth about how what makes a guy be a good candidate or something like that. So you know, so sorry to break it to you, but I wouldn't make plans if I were you. But yeah, you better be kidding because let me tell you, that is going to just break your heart forever. So, um, you were there in 709. Get man to stay awake so you can sleep with the windows open. I used to think that way. Well, most don't have to deal with that. They haven't more with women. Lies, you never know. Well, I'm just saying, I feel like I don't deserve the drama of someone already having a family and then me wanting my own family but also having to share And then it gets messy because then my children will have half siblings already, and they're going to have many questions as to why, although they are siblings, they're not living together. You know? So, yeah, yeah, yeah. Why is my phone like, do I not, am I a ghost? It's like not picking up my touch. Huh. Okay, I don't do or have the drama. You will see when you get older. Well, it doesn't matter. Men with kids, not a possibility for me. Unless I have kids of my own. But when I have kids of my own, I am hoping that I'm in a marriage where I don't have to get divorced. Because I don't know. I just, when I get married, I'm like everybody. I'm not thinking about being divorced, but I will do everything in my power to make my marriage work because I grew up without both parents and it sucked. So I want to do everything in my power to break that snowball or whatever. Can I do something about this thing sliding because it's really breaking my concentration? Anyway, okay. So yeah, guys, I wanted to start rambling a little bit about what's happening in just the global community and it's like social conduct. Like earlier today, there was a trend about Willow Smith, which I'm sure you should know, but if you don't, it's Will Smith's daughter. And she said somewhere that growing up famous is horrible or terrible, one of the two. And then she was under fire because of that. People started saying stuff like, oh, look at that, a millionaire complaining about how hard her life is. And, that's what you get for being famous, wealth and fame. And I'm like, I think people are missing the point because, first of all, this child did not choose to be born with such a status. And the topic here is that the attention that you get for being a public figure, especially a public figure when you're not old enough, mature enough to be able to cope with that stress, and you did not seek that, that is a, let's call it a privilege, a curse that you're born with. It's not about her having money and her saying that her life is miserable, because I'm sure that she's very happy to have money. What I'm saying is that there is wealthy people are out there who are not famous and they don't have to deal with this pressure that she experiences. First of all, she has two high profile parents, but particularly Will Smith. So what she's saying is that everywhere she goes to, she gets this scrutiny. She gets looked at and crept on, whereas I can go out and about and nobody gives a damn. So even though I go out and about, I get someone's attention. And for me, that is annoying sometimes and it feels invasive and I don't feel comfortable. So I cannot even begin to imagine what it's like to every single day of your life, since before you are even born, you are the center of attention and scrutiny and everything. So I will side with her on this one because people immediately wanted to attack her for being rich and whatnot. And I'm like, people need to understand that money does not magically make problems go away. So I felt like I would share that and see if you guys had anything to input. I hope I didn't mess up the stream when that weird window came up. I don't know why that came up. There it did it again. Let's see. Um, my stats, most marriages last 3 years on average. I agree. I wanted to break the snowball also. I had both parents growing up, but it's hard nowadays. I don't believe in half either. Not his most, not my. His children deal with a lot. Yes, indeed, they do deal with a lot. And as a person who grew up with both parents being split, it's really difficult because for me at least, my mom always kept me on the loop about my father. She did not, just because she had an issue with him, she didn't brew resentment in me. Like she said, this is your father, and you can either love him or hate him, or, find him disgusting or find him amazing, whatever, but this is what he did. And I would like for you to, be kind to him since he hasn't really done anything to you. But just know that, you know, this is what happened back in the day. And, you know, it's up to you to decide whether you want to get close to him or not. So I really owe my mom for that because I feel like if I grew up mentally healthy, when it comes to that matter, it's because of that. Because she wasn't actively telling me or trying to influence me to think of him automatically as a terrible person just because she is his victim, you know? So my mom would have accepted me being close with him at a young age. It's just that I personally did not have the interest. So that's really the thing. And then the hardest thing about this issue too is that like my mom for the longest time did not understand me and the effects that growing up without a father had on me. Like, let me put my thoughts together while I sip on this. Like, one time we had a conversation in which I told her, well, Mom, these are some of the challenges that I experienced as a result of my father's absence. I feel like my shyness comes from that because I did not develop good social skills because I was just insecure all the time. You were understandably busy. You yourself have a degree of shyness, so a shy person cannot possibly bring up a person to not be shy. So so my dad is absolutely not shy. He cannot be shy because he's a policeman. So having my dad around would have helped me with that. I would have been mentally stronger, definitely, because this man is just not afraid of saying things, even if it's in a crude manner. And for the longest time, I was just too terrified and felt bad and sorry for having to say anything to anyone if it's bad news. My dad has no issue saying any of that. And then my mom was like, well, even though I grew up with both of my parents, it doesn't mean that it was flowers and dandelions because, I definitely did not have the freedom that you had, and I could not trust my mother the way that you can trust me, la da 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 da. And then I'm like, well, see, that is your trauma. I have my trauma. So you just have to listen to me and believe me when I say that these are the effects that not having a dad had on me. So unless you go through it, you will not be able to relate to me. And basically, she was just telling me that I shouldn't let that affect me because, I had her, and while I was with her, I did not need anything, which is true. Like, I was never hungry, and I always had clothes. I was always on time to all of my functions, like school or anything, doctor's appointments. If I got sick, I had medical medical access and everything, but she used to say that she was both a mother and a father. And I'm like, no, ma'am, you are only a mother, because a father can only be a man, you know. So, as much as women out there like to say, oh, for my kids, I am both the mom and the dad, I wish they would stop saying that, because there is stuff, essences that only a male can supply, and that's what they don't understand. So unless you go through this mess, you cannot really have an opinion because you cannot relate. So, so yeah, that concludes my rambling. Mr. Lord help me. Sometimes I get nervous checking your emails. So just behave. I mean, not that you're bad or anything, but I'm just saying that sometimes I'm like, wait, what? What is this guy saying? I say Rome is falling. We are dealing with a lot. I came back to say, gotta go again. I'm gonna watch later and then email. And all right, see you later. You know, women go to jail for talking bad about the other parent nowadays. Well, you know, if that is the case, which I'm not very aware of that, if that is the case, then I think that is a step in the right direction, because I don't think that it is right for guys to have their lives destroyed, say, by a false accusation of something. And that is something that I have always questioned myself. Like, why does the law just favor women more? And it is okay for a woman to destroy a guy. So, if that's happening, like if saying lies and trash about your ex like that can get you into trouble, then shoot, I'm all for it. Because even if women go to jail, their punishment is significantly less severe than what men get. You know what I'm saying? So if we're really fighting for equality so much, that cannot be an exception, you know? So maybe that's totally unrelated to what your point is, but I just wanted to share that. This is why I fight so hard for my sons. My ex was shy, but not anymore. Her upbringing made it hard on her relationships and friendships, I'm sure. Yes, for the longest time, I struggled. When I was growing up, like during my middle school years, I was always saying, I don't like guys. Um, I dislike men, this and that. So, of course, people were telling me in middle school that I was gay and whatnot. And I'm like, women are freaking disgusting to me. So don't you ever mutter that again. And what I mean by disgusting is that I don't find them attractive. It's not what I'm into. So just because I have issues with guys doesn't mean that I'm automatically the other thing, you know? So, you know, that didn't help my cause either. So that is what made me opt for remaining silent, because information that people don't find out, they don't have any way to bring that up, and you don't have to deal with that, you know? So it just sucked for me. Socially, it really sucked for me, but at least I took the initiative of remaining solo, being alone, and that helped so much, because I had control of what people could confront me about. So that's why I was always reserved. And to this day, I still am. Because if I can prevent any drama from happening, I will. So, you know, I'm not sure if that makes it better. But if it blinds me, I'll just change it. But I'm trying to get my life together with thing, since I am watching myself in the viewfinder. But anyways. And yeah, but I just wish that things just worked out, that people were more honest and more responsible with their actions. Because there's stuff that's way too important, and You gotta be responsible. So anyways, um, let's talk a little bit about Black Friday and the way people behave on this day. Oh my God. So I don't know if you guys heard, but there were some workers that went on strike in Europe, and this happened on Black Friday. And I gotta say that that takes a lot of guts because we are talking people who are putting their jobs on the line just to get a message across. And that reminds me a lot of times in history when change happened because drastic measures took place. So things are really going to start happening, especially in the country. So these are the symptoms. This happened in Europe, but it doesn't mean that this can't happen in the States. I know that maybe 2 years ago, Verizon also had some workers on strike, and this lasted for a couple of days. So, but anyways, Black Friday, I had to work, but business was kind of slow for us because we're just a grocery store. But I did not really get to perceive traffic because I always take a back road to head home. But mom did go out and she went to the mall so that she could go to Chipotle. And she said that it was terrible. It was drowning in people. And I said, well, that's why I have zero interest in being out today. Then I went to the gym in the evening, like usual, and it was dead. There was only like 5 people plus my boyfriend and I, and then the 2 or 3 staff members. And I'm like, see, ain't nobody trying to shed some pounds on this day. So, but usually the gym is dead on Fridays, but on this Friday it was deader. And I'm just saying, I could use some extra money, and like there are bargains that I think are really worth it, but I can honestly say that I don't need anything but food, gas, rent, money, and electricity and my phone. So, just why do people fall for this trap of marketing and these deals? Like, what do you need? Do you not get that this is just a massive business movement? Your phone works just fine. Your TV works just fine. Why are you accumulating junk? And then you have, say, so many worries when you buy so many things because if a natural disaster comes, for example, you have to deal with insurance and everything. And I'm not saying you have to live like a Flintstone and have nothing, but I'm just saying that if you buy something and it works for you, stick to it. Make it work for you. Like my car. My car is about to be 5 years old, half a decade. I'm not thinking about replacing it. And trust me, Toyota is really thirsty about trying to get me to upgrade my vehicle because the safety standards have been increased. And I'm like, safety will do jack crap for me in the event of an accident because there's someone who can run into me. So you can make your vehicle as safe as whatever, but I can still die in your vehicle because someone can make it flip over, and then what? You don't have anything that will protect me from that. It's like insurance. Insurance doesn't protect you from anything. It just promises to maybe give you money depending on the circumstances of the accident, and we know that they try to not give you your money. So, you know, Black Friday, I have never gone shopping on a day like that. I have been out during that day, but I have never lined up somewhere to get something. And when a new product comes out, like the iPhone 10, iPhone X, whatever that is, I cannot see myself just waking up to line up somewhere and get it first before anyone else. And and it's not really something that I can afford. And I don't have interest in being able to afford it when the phone that I have right now works just fine, you know? So, just why do people feel like they need to keep accumulating junk? Um, I can't live like that. I feel way cluttered. So, let's see. What have you guys been saying? I still say it takes a village to raise a child. Social made it, I guess social media made it hard because it made everyone to two people, to one person doing everything is hard for sure. I agree. I say the same thing. When I took care of my son full time by myself, I was the father, not mom, also. Society made it hard on everyone. And you know what else sucks about you guys? Let's say that you are an optimal parent. Like, you are just a role model, the daddy of daddies, pretty much. You're on point, you can handle the stress of being a single parent, you can juggle everything. When do you get a pat on the back? When do you get told, that's amazing, that's great, good job? What I hear that you guys get told is, I'm surprised, or it's about time that you finally did something, or, wow, I must say that it's a miracle that a man was actually able to pull that off. Something that is not really crediting you. It's something that it's like trying to compliment you, but it's not a compliment. It's just saying, um, uh, you know, you're doing a good job as a father, but no matter what, women still do it better. Like, oh my God, it's just messy. Just, if you don't have anything to say, just don't say anything. It really is that simple. Let's see. Uh, 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 um, it's called parental alienation because women are not just destroying men, it's all about the children. I'm on point. Savages. I didn't go out Thanksgiving or Black Friday. In the army, that goes out the window. Politics in the army are non existent. That's interesting. I would expect that in the army. Politics is pretty much what governs the army land. But like I always say, cars, the army, and what else? Anyways, those are two things that I'm really a dummy at. So please, guys, anything that can broaden my spectrum on that, please share. Zombies, you realize they don't line up to rush in a bookstore. I know, right? Why wouldn't you? Something as useful as reading, you know, yeah, good point. I never thought about that. I got into a wreck earlier in the year. I had to hire lawyers because my insurance company didn't want to pay me. They had to pay me 13 grand. Yeah, man. Back on that note, another thing that I was saying is the greatest safety feature ever is the human factor. Don't be distracted, obey the law, and nothing should happen. Do not make risky turns. Do not try to defy the laws of momentum. You thinking that you can really cross that red light when you can't. So, really, as long as humans have control and their mind is not focused on the road, accidents will continue to happen. So, Toyota, I love you and everything, but you are not selling me a new car unless my car is totaled. And I ain't buying it, it's someone else supplying it because the only way I'll really mess up my car is if someone messes it up for me. So, I can just tell that about me. It took me over 5 months for them to cut the check. Good thing I had another backup ride. Good thing I live in a city. I experienced something along the lines of someone, a company owing me money. And that is, I bought something online that never made it to my house, and I said, WTF is it at? And then I had to go to the website to track my package to discover that it had been returned to the sender. Nobody emailed me anything. Um, I emailed the customer service, and then they were telling me, oh, yeah, we were having trouble with your address, so therefore, um, it was sent back. And I'm like, where's my refund at? This happened 2 months ago. And they're like, oh, we're working on it. My package had been received by the sender um, a week and a half before I inquired about this, because I'm like, wait, originally my package was supposed to get home on October 16th, and I had placed the order on October 2nd. Then it got pushed back to November the 28th. No, excuse me, not November. October the 28th. And then on the 29th, I'm like, where's my package at? So that's when I decided to look it up, and that's when I learned that the package had been sent back to the sender, and then my refund didn't return until a month later. I'm like, why does a refund have to take weeks when the transaction of me giving you the money for me to obtain my product happens immediately? Why the why can you not do an like a POS to me so that I get my money just as immediately as you got it from me? So yeah, it's something that really gets under my skin. So that's why I had to just rant and everything. Hey, Snake, it's good to see you. I don't think I have seen you in a live stream before, so yeah, please roast me, drag me, because I know that your comments can be some of the most challenging ones for me to get back to. So yeah, you are right, and I still got trashed. Men don't get anything. You are so right, and women and what women do, the shaming language of feminists kills me. And see, the problem is that when I was younger, like during my adolescence, I was that kind of person, because that's what I grew up hearing women say. Like, men are this, men are that. But of course, because I am a woman, I thought these women know what they're talking about, so I better listen to what they are saying. And my perception on relationships was super negative. I said, my mom went through a terrible experience. Why would I possibly want to get married if I'm going to be condemned to experience the same thing that she experienced? I looked at marriage as losing my freedom. Like, I was going to be a housekeeper. I was going to have to suffer a pregnancy and giving birth and the physical consequences that take place after that. And then the stress of bringing up the children, because apparently all that a man can do is work, which, don't get me wrong, you guys often have the most physically demanding, perilous jobs ever. And then as women, we have our jobs of, you know, that are associated with being maternal, which is raising the kids. But in modern days, realistically, women have to work too. So imagine me coming home to a mess in the house, and then having to help kids with homework, and then the man has like a 12-hour shift. When he gets home, he is definitely not thinking about wanting to be more physically active with the duties of the house. And I understand that, because I'm a reasonable person. I know what it's like to be under tons of physical and mental and emotional stress. So I understand now, because I'm in my 20s now, and I have reflected a lot on my past and my present and what I want for my future. But that's why I'm always preaching, please wait and have stability before you start a family. and make sure that the person you are with is on the same page as best as you can, because this is not a game. This is serious stuff. And for me, I got into my adulthood as a broken person pretty much. I'm not trying to sound like a victim. I just want you guys to really know how I got to where I am at. I was like, what I mean by really broken is I just had no sense of direction in life. I felt really lost all the time. I felt like life was pointless, honestly. And really, that was a result of most of my youth hadn't been exciting. I wasn't social. When I was invited to be social, I would freak out. I just wouldn't participate. I felt uncomfortable, and the detachment from my home gave me this anxiety that I could not enjoy ever being away from home or being away from my mom for long periods of time. And then mentally, I had that perception of men are trash. So, so that's what I mean by growing up a broken person. And repairing that took such a long time. So it's easier to just raise a person right than trying to repair them during their adult years. I have met a lot of adults that I'm wondering, how are you even an adult when your perception and opinions on some things really lack a lot of substance and you could really use some more maturity? But when I hear the story of their past, it's like, oh, you have a traumatic past. And I'm not really trying to give you a pass on that, but like I just said, to sum it up, the best way to prevent disaster is, or to solve a disaster, is to prevent it from happening. So, same thing with a person. If you want for a person to be good in their adult years, don't break them, because repairing yourself is much difficult. So that's where I was at. I had to go through many challenging things to change my perception, and I'm glad that it happened at the time that it happened, because I felt like it was opportune. I was older, I had met some good people, I was in a better habitat, like a better town, better city. So I felt like the environment really was optimal for me to grow, but not everybody has that. And some people just don't even realize that they are heavily flawed as a result of their past, because that's the reality that they have always known. They have to start dating and struggle while dating, struggle maintaining friendships and other kinds of relationships to realize that they are a broken person. So so yeah, guys, that's really all that I have to say on that note. So let me catch up with what you lovely folks are commenting. Which, wow, it's been a bit, so I have to do lots of scrolling. Okay. They are not compliments. It's saying, before now I thought you were a dirtbag. My ex told me women will always be above men because men can't have children. And guess what? Women cannot have children without men. This is one of the many reasons why I left her. The self-entitlement doesn't help anyone. How long did you date your ex? Well, both of my exes, it was close to 2 years, or excuse me, my second ex was 2 years, and then my first boyfriend was almost 2 years. So yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You were asking the age. I thought you were asking me, Snake. Oops. Ignore that. Well, some information for you guys in case you didn't know. Almost 2 years, but me and her was good friends for over 10 years. Things like work strike to get ahead doesn't work in the army. You don't have Right, and that's true. When you're in the army, you're totally owned by like the government. Your opinion doesn't matter. Do what you're told. Be on time in the right uniform. Dating don't matter, but I only allow her to live her because I worry about my son. If you were good friends for 10 years, then you should have known that your ex was an angry feminist. Well, you see, Snake, when it comes to knowing a person, unfortunately, you don't know some details about someone until either marriage happens or an episode that triggers for you to find out that shady side of the person takes place. Because there are people who I know presently that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that you had this opinion. I'm not sure we can be close anymore. So honestly, sometimes people's true colors don't show up until it's too late. Um, I used to be in the army also. Why did you date her and have a kid with her? That is not correct, sweet. I was stationed in June 222. A lot of people deal with whatever stuff and change over time. People don't always disclose their life or exactly. I know that I try to be as open as possible during those initial months so that the guy that I'm starting to see, for instance, like if I'm beginning a relationship, I like to make the most important points clear so that this guy does not get surprised later. If you're going to be disappointed now. A week, 2 weeks, a month into the relationship instead of 5, 7, 10 years later. I didn't find that angry feminist stuff until the second child. Usually, when you first start dating someone, you meet their representative within the first year of dating. The real person comes out. Hey, hey. You have to understand people get better at hiding things when they get older for sure. It doesn't matter if I dated or not. That's true because I always thought that I would be open about everything about me, but oh no. Like I'm even more reserved now than I used to be. The refunds are late so they can include your purchase in their quota. Well, still, um, a sister needs her money immediately when your service sucks. Usually, but this is not right nowadays. But this podcast is not about me, though. You are right, Zemri. Many women think that. My ex was raised that same way. Her mom raised her, and now my ex works and goes to party. I did everything. Ugh, man, that's another thing. I don't know how there are women out there who have the nerve to not work sometimes. Like the guy that they have is like such a spoiling prince that he's like, you don't have to work, I got it. In modern days, it's rare because, money is really a tight situation. But how can you have the nerve to demand that your boyfriend that you want new nails, that you want to have your hair done? And this stuff is often not cheap. If you want something, you work for it. But my boyfriend, the only times I have asked him for something is because I was in a tight situation. Like last year, I got sick, and of course, I had to buy some medicines. So I was like, honey, my situation is kind of tight. Could you supply me with certain dinner ingredients and this and that, and I'll pay you back at some point? Sometimes he wouldn't even accept for me to pay back. Other times, he would just take me out and we would pick something up. Or, you know, if my boyfriend gives me something, it's because he wanted to. He felt like providing that for me. Or sometimes I do have moments in life when I'm not holding it together and I have emergencies. One time I totally forgot my wallet and I was like, you know what? I'll pass on this. The place didn't take Apple Pay. So I was like, I'll pass on it. Then it turns out that my boyfriend had grabbed the item that I had put back and he totally paid for it and he was like, "Here you go." I did not ask him, "Honey, can you buy it for me and then I give you the cash?" No, he completely did that for me. So, I wouldn't ask my boyfriend for something like that because he's not my walking bank account. I have way too much respect for him. He works long hours for many days in the week, so I don't know. I would not be comfortable with someone who's like that. Um, and then it's just so disrespectful. Um, yeah, like f- feeling entitled to your man is just crazy to me. Let's see. People nowadays don't understand unless you live with someone you truly know someone for sure. Dating doesn't mean a thing for sure. Yeah, that's true because I'm pretty sure that living with someone puts a strain in relationships, particularly because you're constantly breathing the same air. So, anyways. Yeah, Lord, how old did you think I was? But then again, I do understand that the way I express myself leads you to believe that I am way ahead of my years. That is totally me paraphrasing what people tell me so warily often. So, anyways, I agree. It's not a game. That's why I took her to court. I don't do games. Thank you, Zamri, for saying that you have to make sure that you and the person you have a kid with are on the same page. Yes, Snake, it's a very important thing for me because a child is not just feeding him, changing diapers, and taking him home and do homework. It's a lot, and judging by how I express myself presently, I am not prepared to take on that. So I will take my time on it, and when the time comes, I want to be just like my mom. My mom was ready. And because she was ready, that's why my childhood and upbringing was more healthy than not because despite all of the challenges, she kept it together. For instance, she had a career, she knew how to home ec, she knew how to keep a house tidy and everything, and she was educated. She was just a prepared person. I want to be just like her. Because when something happens, like the situation with my father, she knew what to do. She had herself to rely on, and the children did not have to suffer. So that is a great legacy for me, and one that I intend to pass on. And, that's what I've inherited. You didn't realize how beautiful you were and lack confidence. It's hard in early teens. You know what, Lord, you're right. I had a very, very negative self-image about me as an adolescent. Physically, I didn't think I was pretty. And then it didn't help that the first frame of glasses that I ever picked was just terrible. Maybe someday I'll have enough guts to share with you guys, but I did not care about the clothes I wore, which presently I still don't, but at least I definitely have a better taste now. I didn't know how to fix my hair either. Like, I would pretty much just not brush it for long periods of time, and all I did was wash it and apply junk to it, and sometimes mom would style it for me, but I didn't know how to take care of myself. And additionally, it didn't help that I was the nerdy kind. Like, I was always studying or playing games. So my mind was just not focused on myself. And because I did not have a social life, I did not know how to classify myself. And because I only hung out with myself, we all know that we are our worst critics. So it also didn't help that the people I was surrounded by really never complimented me. I didn't start getting real compliments until late in my high school years, and most of my compliments came from teachers. Like, it was, I really like that you're polite. I really enjoy how respectful you are, those kinds of compliments. Um, and then the physical ones started taking place pretty much at age 18 plus. And then during my adolescence, sometimes when I would pick a cute outfit and maybe get my hair done, I did get a few compliments. But I'm saying that receiving compliments was something that I was not used to. So when I started getting them, I thought that they were trivial because it's not what I associated with myself. But then I learned to not be so defensive. I learned to just give myself credit. If people say something positive about me, it's because they mean it. I had a hard time believing people and what they said. And that's probably because most of the people in my life that I had met at that point had lied to me at some point. So I just assumed that everyone was always going to lie before they expressed any truth. Hey Stan, it's good to catch up with you. I'm pretty sure you've been there for a minute, but I'm trying to catch up with some comments. So, yeah. Um Better live with someone before all of that. Most people think date, marriage and move together. This day is this day and age is crazy. I agree with you, many lack substance. I think that people fail to understand that when you decide to get into a relationship with someone, you're really getting into a business agreement. That's true, and I detest that fact. If someone isn't offering you a good business deal, then you shouldn't take it. Man, that's why I say communication is so vital during a relationship because I like to keep my guy on the loop as to what my goals are, what I'm doing. Um, they know that I don't spend money on dumb, crazy things. Like, I'm not a person who orgasms when I see shoes, and I feel like I have to own every single pair, you know? Until my shoes lose their sole and I can feel my foot like touching the ground, like I feel the texture of the ground through whatever thin layer of sole my shoes have, then that's when I replace my shoes. But yeah, the only thing that I get sometimes is different outfits because there are times in which you find yourself in a situation where your presentation is important. So I cannot be showing up with an old hoodie if presentation is important. So I have tried to replace a little bit of my wardrobe, and then stuff that I have owned since my childhood. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think it's time that I handed this to the younger generation now. So, I just don't waste money like that. I don't wake up every day thinking I need to buy junk that I don't need. So maybe I'm just someone really hard to brainwash when it comes to falling victim to business movements and everything. So, anyways, let's see. People change roughly every 2 to 4 years. That's true because I keep telling my boyfriend, do you remember me 2 years ago and the challenges that I was having? And I have noticed that he himself has changed in the past 2 or 3 years. Um, so, so yeah, that's very true. Let's see. Uh, People change and no one should stay the same if you are not growing for the good or bad. That's why people should live together before marriage. Yes, absolutely. I have brought up that conversation to my boyfriend and he is simply not ready for that move, and I get it. I really told him I'm just ready to have the talk because I never thought that I would do this in my life. So we're taking our time, and I think that it's a good thing. And our deal pretty much is we want for things to happen naturally. For me, though, I feel like, well, I don't feel like this is the case. I move definitely faster than he does. And I'm just learning to take more away from him in the sense of taking my time because when it comes to relationships, I'm just very sure about myself and I'm ready to move forward and make big changes in my life because I believe in relationships so much and the changes that I'm planning are both beneficial for me and for him. But for someone who is so used to being by themselves, like my boyfriend, I can see why he would be intimidated by that. And maybe he also has the influence of, he may know more of stories of disgraces that happen in relationships more than the successes and benefits of relationships. Like his parents ended up divorcing when he was young, but at least he lived the first few years of his life with them. So so when it comes to that, we're a little different. But at the same time, that helps me learn a lot because just because someone is not ready to make the decisions that I am and take the steps that I am doesn't mean that he doesn't love me or anything like that. I used to get so anxious about that. I'm like, oh, does this mean that the relationship is not going to progress? Because if that's the case, you need to tell me right now. And hey, B, um, yes, I am still on, and this is going to run for a while because I'm supposed to drink all of this before I finish the stream. And as you can see, it's already been 67 minutes and I am not doing very well. So let me shut up for a second and let you guys have at it in the comments. Okay, I'm back. Um why am I so terrible at drinking water? You guys should give me reminders of when you think I should take a sip, because I know that I am not shutting up. Um, um, I really wish I could pin comments because, like, I have to scroll all the way to wherever I left off. Fortunately, I can sort of speed read, but still. um, I agree. Live together is the most. So much come out. Yeah, I work from home, took care of my son full time while working, cooked, cleaned, helped her with her task she couldn't handle. I love that. I helped my wife with the task she couldn't handle. I did it all, and I felt like she thought I was Superman. It ruined everything. You know, I had someone in my family who married a guy who was incredible. Like this guy could cook. This guy had a great organizational skills. Um, Polite, funny, fun to be around. He liked video games. He was the guy who introduced me to Metal Gear Solid. And I always told him I'm eternally grateful for you. But my family member, my relative, messed it up big time because she behaved exactly like I behaved. I was terrible at compliments, giving them and receiving them. I thought I was really manipulative. And so was she. This cousin is significantly older than me. Like, she's in her 30s. But at the time this was happening, I was in my early childhood and she was in her adult years already. But every time they were together, I just remember how she would behave. Like, for instance, I remember one time we were at the mall, and the my cousin bought cinnamon pretzels, something like that. It was a snack of some sort. And she was supposed to buy enough for pretty much everyone to enjoy, including him. Well, she bought whatever it was for herself, and then when the boyfriend asked, uh, where's my bite at or whatever, she was like, oh, there is none. And then the guy understandably got annoyed because if it was the other way around, if the guy doesn't do that, he is a huge douchebag, you know? So I never forgot that. And I guess that memory surfaced so much during my adolescence that that's how little by little I started identifying the areas where I really needed to improve. Because with my first boyfriend, I was like that. I never thought he did anything right except drawing. He draws amazingly. Like that snake, he drew that, and then that one, I colored it. Um, but it was rare that I would give compliments to my boyfriends. I thought that they were supposed to just serve me. And the reason being, what I heard from such an early age, men are trash, men are not good for anything, and da da da. But then, fortunately, throughout my life, I have been a great listener. Like, one time I saw a poster that says listen and silent are spelled with the same letters. And I started to hang out with guys and just listen to them and ask them things. Because when I asked myself, what do I know about men? I always said, I don't know anything. I didn't have a dad. I wasn't close with my brother. And my brother wasn't really social either, so it's not like I could learn much from him. And then I said, why do I have this opinion about guys? What makes me think this way about them? From me, deep within my core, what experiences do I have that make me feel obliged to have this negative perception about guys? I realized that I had nothing. The only few guys that had made me have negative thoughts about guys were, every single grade level has a bully in there. So, of course, there were some guys who would bully me for dumb stuff, but I could ignore that. But I realized that I was having opinions about guys based on other women's stories, and I was believing that their stories were mine. It's like I was appropriating their stories. I had no idea I was doing that. But then when I had my first boyfriend, I'm like, wow, guys are not that intimidating. They're funny, they're kind. And then when I dated my second boyfriend and my current boyfriend, I concluded that the guys who I have the blessing of meeting really have more tender hearts than not. And that's why when I see conversations about women like on Twitter just saying junk, and when I'm sitting down having a conversation with another woman and they try to talk me trash about men, I'm always trying to say something positive. I'm like, well, my colleagues always bring me snacks that they're supposed to throw away, um, or anything like that. They're like, I know Zamora likes this. I'm gonna bring this to her. Or, I know that, there's some more of this in backstock if you want some. So go get it. And I'm like, wow, this person is in a department totally unrelated to mine, but they're thinking about me. And other times is like today, I was trying to pick up this one box that was heavy because it was the box of paper. Like it's the order. that our paper comes in. So very easily that box is like 40-ish pounds, 50-ish pounds. And what I like to do is, since I was by myself, I was opening the door to go out on the sales floor, and I was pushing it on the floor so that once I'm out the door, I could position myself to pretty much deadlift that box and then set it on the counter so that I could distribute them to the proper stations. And then one of the guys who I work with was like, "Oh, no, girl, I got this." He didn't, another woman would have felt offended. She would have been like, "Oh, you think that I'm weak or something?" What I said was, "Thank you so much." Because that box, when it's on the floor, it is uncomfortable for me to lift it. I may work out, I may be able to lift that and have the capacity, but I run the risk of being injured because for me, it's awkward to lift it, and my wrists are particularly weak. Like, you know, those cases of waters that bring like 24 bottles in it or whatever that are wrapped in a plastic? That thing is literally light for me. If it's on a counter and I can push it and put it on my arm, I can grab that with one arm. But when it comes to grabbing it, my wrists do this instead of this. So I like to do wrist exercises to improve my grip, but naturally I have very weak wrists. So I always do some minimal damage anytime I try to lift something. So the fact that someone was looking out for me and they did not hesitate to help me, that to me meant a lot. So I'm not going to reject someone's help, especially if he was so eager to help, you know? But I have been there where women say, "What, you think I'm not good on my own?" or this and that. For me, I'll take advantage of any help I can get because, like, I know that someday they may need something and I'll do the same. I do not think twice about helping someone when they need help. So I felt very relieved when he came over and said, "No, girl, I got this," because I was trying to come up with a plan for me, knowing my physical weaknesses, to safely lift that thing. So if I get spiritual about it, I feel like he served as God's agent to protect me because maybe I could have gotten hurt trying to lift that freaking box. So, like I said, you guys have such an incredibly tender heart. I have been blessed with knowing the better side of guys, and I know that evil men exist out there, but they display symptoms of their personalities very early on. You have to be incredibly naive or just flat out ignorant to not detect that. So when women try to make it sound like I'm going to relate to them, I'm like, "I'm sorry to hear your story, but in my case, this is what has happened." So they automatically expect for me to side with them and talk trash about guys. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I cannot roll with you because I do not relate." So maybe that's why I'm someone very easy to get along with. Maybe that's why um, I tend to, like, people tend to gravitate toward me. And I'm like, "I'm sorry that I'm terribly socially awkward, but but that's really who I am. I just like to notice the good in people." And like I said, guys for me have given me more reasons to love them than not. And you guys right now that are present here, every single one of you have made me laugh at some point and have a blast at some point. You know, once again, guys who I don't truly know personally, but that they still displayed the better side to me despite being over the internet, because you guys know that the internet can be pretty merciless. But you guys have chosen to not be that way. So how can I not appreciate you for doing that, you know? That's what I like to focus on. Let's see. Let me find my place in the comments once again. Uh, uh, I really should have some background music because you guys have no idea how like anxious and nervous and just awkward this feels for me trying to like catch up with what I'm saying. Okay. I am a better person. I had to let that go. I'm all for my children. Men don't get recognized for anything. My ex is demanding. That's why I stay away from relationships now and live alone. For some reason, or sorry, for some people, living alone really works. So, not that you need any advice or anything, but I would say remain solo for a while because since you have the responsibility of being a father, when you're by yourself, I think that's when you really realize what you're made of better than ever. That's what my mom did, so that's why I'm throwing that out there. She was single for quite some time, and then eventually, of course, she started dating. But like being alone just helped her value herself much more than she already did. So after relationships, I like to give myself some time because, you know, when I get in a relationship, I'm serious and I go hard, like on it, like I fall, like without kidding. So, yeah. Living together takes a lot of work if you are not used to it. It takes a village, and I'm really sure every day now. I feel like I am old school. Not many people are like us. You often dress well. Thanks, Dan. Look at you. You're always boosting my self esteem. Just, my goodness. I'm the nerdy type also at times, but I also had a social life. The day that you guys ever hear me say that I have a social life, that'll be the day that pigs pop out wings and fly. Because I cannot imagine myself just being in control of a public situation or a social situation. Just no, no, no. I'm not saying never, but I'm just saying that it's not happening too soon. Let's see. Uh, I never understood shoes. They basically all look the same to me. I can see the variety in handbags, but not shoes. You know, did you guys know that I don't know how to walk on heels? And I have tried. But the problem with heels is that they are so freaking hard. They're not like sneakers or running shoes that you can bend to some extent, whatever. They are the worst. And I used to wear them a little more when I was younger because I would accompany my mother to go to some of her social events. But dang, that is just a. They shouldn't even be considered footwear that should be permissible to just rely on for many hours. Like it should be illegal to go more than 2 hours wearing heels. I'm just saying it is just so terrible for you, terrible for your back, terrible for your feet, and you know how easy it is to trip on them. Like I like to dress according to the setting that I'm going to be in. Say when I travel, I'm not going to wear freaking flip flops or heels on my flight because what if the plane crashes? Like, I gotta be able to run. I'm always asking myself what I'm wearing in case of emergency. Would this help me? If anything gets in my way, I'm not wearing it. Or I toss it or leave it on my car or something. But when I'm driving, I always make sure that I take my coats off and that my phone is close by, but not to where if I slam on my brakes, momentum is gonna make it, like fly. Cause you just gotta think ahead. Anything can ruin your life and day in just a second. So just something to consider. So when it comes to shoes, I like to have a variety in color. So I have like chestnut colored sneakers, gray sneakers. Um, then I have something that's navy, something that's red, something that's brown, brown boots, neon colored shoes, running shoes, totally for the gym. I have three pairs. One of them is the oldest pair, and the pair that I use if I have to go on like dirt roads or something. Then I have my working shoes, which are also running shoes because nothing beats that. And then I have another pair of running shoes for when the current running shoes that I use for the gym just completely give out on me. I have the replacement at home already. So, yeah, I just like to anticipate stuff. Let's see. I agree. This is why I don't buy junk. I like boots. They last forever. My ex-wife did that to me. My ex told me things needed to be X, Y, and Z. Now that you say that, don't even get me started on the foolishness of people expecting to have stuff that is brand name. Like, normally, the stuff I wear, because I'm a poor girl, either comes from Walmart, and I'm talking about Walmart back when Walmart was affordable, because I think that they're really cranking up their prices. Um, and Sometimes I go donate things at thrift stores, and I go ahead and go inside to see if they have something that can be relevant for my life. And a lot of the times I find great stuff that still has the tags on it. But but when I don't shop at thrift stores, I'm just not thinking about name brands. Like I have had $1 tank tops, $2 shirts, stuff like that, and I can genuinely say that I'm happy about it, you know? So yeah, people who say, "Oh, if it's not Nike, I'm not wearing it." It's like, go F yourself, cuz even if you buy Nike shoes, they still have the same mileage as Walmart shoes. Cuz think about it, the friction that you walking generates is eating away the sole. It's pretty much at the same rate as any other shoe. Maybe the Nike ones are going to feel more comfortable on the foot since they maybe invest more in the like some fabrics, some materials really are of better quality. But when it comes to certain items like shoes, that really doesn't matter because of the beating that the product is taking. You know what I mean? So, anyways, um, where am I? um, we had a bad fallout. Things was good for the first 4 years, but she enforced a lot and ruined it. Yeah, I feel like most people report that after the third year, stuff starts spiraling down. And I'm like, that is so easy to detect. When you're on that third, fourth year, what kills relationships, at least from what I have observed, so I'm going to call this my opinion, is familiarity. Like, you're so familiar with this person that you feel like you forget that they're human. You forget that they have feelings, plans, goals, thoughts, needs, desires, and you just gotta learn to communicate that stuff. Like, your boyfriend may have been used to taking you to like every single one of his social functions because he wanted to show you off. But eventually, he may need his space because maybe it's like, do you ever visit somewhere that you used to frequent with someone, but then this person died and you go by yourself because, like, you go back mentally down memory lane and there's like this special connection and feeling that it generates within you? Well, same thing in a relationship. Sometimes your guy is going to need to go out and about by himself because it may take him back to times in his life that he also enjoyed himself, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do that sometimes. I'm like, wow, I really feel like getting a burrito from Chipotle today because I have so many fond memories of eating there with my mom. So I just treat myself and don't invite anybody. I go by myself because I'm just dating myself at that moment in time. You know, we need our space. Um, so yeah. Let's see. I wouldn't have said anything. I just would have taken a bite out of the pretzel. I haven't had that blessing yet for a girlfriend mine do the same. They curl down instead of going up. You get anything for Black Friday? No, B, I didn't get anything for Black Friday because I briefly went over this earlier in the stream. So, to fill you in, basically what I said was I had to work and I could anticipate that at the mall, traffic was going to be from hell. And then my mom also confirmed that because she went to the mall to eat Chipotle. And I took a back road, so I really didn't perceive the traffic for myself. But at my store, it was dead, and at the gym, it was super dead. Which on Fridays, it's typically dead, but this time it was deader than ever because ain't nobody trying to shed pounds while bargains are going on. So nope. I don't need anything. If I need something, I buy it when I need it. But everything that I could possibly want and need, I already have. So I've never tried walking on heels, just not for me. Well, I would hope so. I would hope that you don't try to walk on heels because that's, I tell you, brother, that's kind of weird. um, is my phone on the charger? No, it is not on the charger because it is holding up pretty well. But I'm pretty sure that the message is going to come up at some point. When I started the stream, it was at 88%. And then what? Let me rant for like 30 seconds. I was so irritated because my boyfriend came over and he had texted me letting me know that I was outside. Or he texted me letting me know that he was outside. That's what I'm trying to say. And my phone has this seizure sometimes to where it's plugged in but it stops charging, and it does that at random. So tonight, while I was using it before he came over, I looked at the battery power and it was charging just fine. We hung out for about an hour, and when I come back to my room, the MF phone is not charging. So I got annoyed, and the 15 minutes that I had before I started streaming, I plugged it in again, and that's how I was able to bring it up to 88ish%. But I'm just surprised that it's doing this well because, you know, it really, this is an iPhone and their batteries suck. But I know that the 20% message is going to come up at some point. I can't see it because the live stream shows me on this corner, which for you would be this corner. It says live, 93 minutes, 5 people watching, 2 likes, and then at the bottom there's like the button for flipping the camera lens. Like instead of this footage, it would be whatever's on the other side of my phone. Then options and filters for the screen, and then more options, and then the exit. So, but yeah, I'm pretty proud with my cellular devices performance. For me, it's not what something costs, but what it looks like. Something costs, but what it looks like. Yeah, that's true. For me, I just cannot own something that I'm not happy with, period. It costs like $5 or less to make Nike shoes. People just don't even understand. Exactly. They don't understand that what you're really paying for is the brand, the name, the symbol, the company prestige, etc. So I refuse to pay more than $10 for, say, a meal. Because I know that producing all of that stuff is so cheap. Um, I know that there's something that I learned how it's made that it's incredibly dirt cheap, but they make it really expensive. Anyway, you cannot kill a ghost if your relationship fails. You've never really had one in the first place. Wait, what? You cannot kill a ghost if your relationship fails. You've never really had one in the first place. Stan, your girl is struggling understanding that deep thought of yours. Would you please elaborate? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around that. I've never really had a relationship if it fails. Or maybe you're replying to something else and I'm thinking that it's a generic comment and that's what has me confused right now. Anyways, let's see. What else did I want to fill you guys in? Um, I pretty much discussed my thoughts on, like, when I went on that business trip 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever. Um, it reminded me of a Black Friday because before the doors opened, I hear that there were over 500 people wrapping around the building. I was not there for that because my shift started at noon. But throughout the day, the business was super steady. And I'm thinking, man, people and their new store rushes, um, and the hype of something that's opening, like grand openings and Black Friday, and heaven forbid if you have a new store on a Black Friday, like that must be suicidal. Just terrible. So, man, I think the reason I was depressed for a long time is because I couldn't relate with people because the stuff that people are interested in and they find amazing, I just don't. Um, like, women are all about looking great and makeup and hair and the fashion in Paris and everything. And I'm over here like, I like the fact that there's possibly water in Mars, you know? And then it gets debunked, whatever, and it's said that it's just sand. So there is someone that you would do anything for. All people are like this. If that person is not your partner, then your relationship will probably fail. Oh, I see. Um, or I see what you mean. That's true because nothing stinks more than you being the one person putting all the effort, but nothing is happening. Like it's not leading anywhere. And okay, I saw a water reference. Thanks for reminding me because I am super dry right now. I just don't. It's amazing how much of a failure one's body is because you can be eating forever and it's not until like 15 minutes past that you realize that you're full. Something like that. So, you talk about not caring about what most people don't, which I agree. I don't like what most people like. I am into deeper stuff. Right. See, for me, I may come off as someone who is stuck up in person because I only speak if I am asked for my opinion or if the subject being discussed is interesting for me. I don't know if I told you guys the story, but one time um, I was at mom's friend's house. It was for a holiday. Let's say it was Thanksgiving. If it wasn't Thanksgiving, it was Christmas. But we were having dinner over there at their place. And then my mom's friend's daughter had her friend come over, and we were at the table by ourselves. And then my this girl asks me, "What are you going to study when you finish school?" And I said, "I like the natural sciences, particularly geology and meteorology." And she was like, "You want to learn about rocks?" Because that's all we did when I took that class. And I'm like, "Well, I believe that knowing about the Earth's processes is important because that will help me understand my surroundings and how they will affect me and my quality of life." Like, for instance, I understand that if I were to live in Florida, the land is prone to sinkholes. A lot of people don't know that until it's too late. If I go to the West Coast, I know that area is more prone to earthquakes. I can lose everything overnight by living in the wrong spot. So, and then she said, "Well, I am studying cosmetology," and she tried to make it sound like it's the shit. And I'm like, "Good for you. I wish you the best of luck. I hope that you enjoy what you're doing, and I hope that you become the best at what you do." I'm not going to try to shred her just because she pretty much insulted my interests. But I'm just saying that since it's something that I'm not interested in, that she's probably doing because most people are interested in that, because I cannot relate, I'm often the lone wolf. So, Stan, I think it was you. One time you commented that you find it was one of my videos when I was like breaking down embarrassingly in front of y'all. But you were telling me that you find it incredibly hard to believe that I struggle in social situations, something like that. I think you said that you feel bad or sorry that someone like me, with the way that I express myself in the channel and whatnot, would find it hard to socialize and whatnot. Well, this is part of the reason, because how can you possibly speak up when you're anticipating that you're going to get shut down for your ideas, even though your ideas should be what people consider, because it's stuff that is important to discuss. Like, it's important to talk about the weather, it's important to talk about good diet, it's important to talk about medicine. Last night I had this terrible, terrible, terrible case of bloating. And then I asked my boyfriend, because this happened out of the blue. I asked him, "Honey, do you know of any spices besides, say, crushed peppers or spicy junk that may cause bloating?" He said, "I'm not sure." When he left, I looked it up, and it turns out that every single spice that I use, almost, um, causes bloating. It was garlic, curry, black pepper, and I forget the other one. But I do know that when I'm cooking, I drown my meats in that stuff. And I brought that up because I realized that every time I eat anything meaty, like fish or the ground beef, I feel like crap. And I'm like, why? This is supposed to be healthy. I cook it at the proper temperature. What's happening? And then I said, it must be the way that I spice it up. So now I'm going to try something a little different. But he suggested that I take a glass of water and fill it up with baking soda. And this was my first time ever having baking soda like that. And I didn't realize just how salty it was. I thought that it would taste like maybe like flour, that it's like this doughy flavor, um, or sandy. I don't know, something like that. But no, I saw the grains at the bottom, and I'm like, first of all, it creates this mist as you pour water into it, but then the particles settle and it looks like water with salt at the bottom. But I was not anticipating that it would be that salty. And I'm like, I should know this, for goodness sake. Sodium bicarbonate is one of the main things that I messed with when I took chemistry. Why did I not associate that with baking soda? So, anyways, as soon as I started swallowing the first sip, I felt relieved already, like as if I had a brand new stomach. And I'm like, why don't people talk more about natural remedies? In older days, I would have probably have resorted to something like freaking Pepto-Bismol, which is a liquid from hell. It should be banned because that thing just doesn't look right, and it's probably not right because God knows what kinds of ingredients are in it. But it's like drinking freaking puke. It's just awful. My brother loved it for some reason, and I'm like, you can have your Pepto Bismol, but do not mess with me. So, so those are the kinds of conversations that I like to have. Things that are beneficial, helpful to know. But most people just waste so much time talking about nothing. So, in a sense, I feel like that's what inspired me to start the channel, besides it being a replacement of my journal and me challenging myself with listening to myself without cringing, because for the longest time I thought that my voice was terrible and that I did not enjoy the sight or sound of myself, put it that way. But with the channel, I have learned that I'm not bad, I'm just normal, you know? So, yeah, it's it's a whole mess, man. I just wish that I had more people like us in our circle. You guys get me? I get you guys. So, it's amazing how the internet lets you know that there's a lot of people out there who feel you and understand you, but we are so scattered. It's like we are the disciples. We all got scattered across every single edge of the globe. So we need to just come together and create our own nation or some crazy junk. Anyways, the world is full of people. The world is full of people if you are not obligated to a situation. What others think doesn't actually matter. You've proven it. Look at how many people are here for you. Yes, you guys are here for me. That's amazing. A year ago when I was vlogging, I sincerely never thought that I would exceed. Like, I think at this time last year, I had 25 subscribers, or 20, or maybe 15. I don't know. But now the fact that I actually have active users who like keep up with me every single day and actually look forward to my stuff, it's like, really? Nah, you guys are just trying to make me feel better because there's just no way that my content is quality content. But then I'm thinking about, I'm not really focused on the production, I'm just focused on delivering a message. And I think that people need to learn to not be attracted to unimportant things like props, a setting, just a message. And I know that it can be difficult if you don't have a captivating tone or a captivating intro, like retention of the audience and their attention. But people just need to understand that you can't judge a book by its cover. If someone sounds monotone and boring, it doesn't mean that they don't have anything good to contribute. So sometimes I like to get out of my comfort zone when I'm on the channel and be like, I want to look up someone new. Like, usually I listen to this person's opinion on something, something. Let me try this person. And of course, I migrate back to the person who I'm a fan of already. But it doesn't mean that I do not give a chance to the other person and let alone value whatever I can take away from them. You know? So, anyway, enough rambling. Where did I leave? Sodium bicarbonate creates gas in the stomach, which helps to relieve the pressure and ease discomfort. You know science, Dan? Oh my gosh, you became 700 times cooler. Tums has calcium carbonate. I enjoy seeing you happy, and oh, thanks a lot. Me likes you too. Um, Speaking of calcium, I remember to take my calcium magnesium supplement because my body forced me to. While I was at work, I was having like a pain in my bones, and I was like, I'm not drinking as much chocolate milk. I only had a tiny yogurt, and then I skipped my smoothie today. So I did not get that extra protein nor the little bit of calcium that I get from the almond milk that I use. So if I have trouble sleeping tonight, then I know that I need to augment my dose a little bit. Um, but I'll do the best that I can to get my tail up tomorrow and go get my chocolate milk. Cause it's not that I don't want it. It's really since I have a lot of plain almond milk in the refrigerator, I want to use that up before I buy more milk. So that, and I'm also trying to save a few bucks because um, I'm anticipating some expenses dealing with open enrollment and junk. So I'm trying to plan for that. Knowing how the pressure is relieved is where the real science is. Why do you drink almond milk? I drink almond milk because that is the way I learned the recipe for my smoothies. And I tried making a smoothie one time with dairy milk, and that was a very regrettable decision. And then almond milk also, to me, it's kind of bland. So when I use it for smoothies, only the flavor of the ingredients that I'm adding is perceived, like blueberries, almond butter, uh, the protein powder that I use, and then the banana. And the banana, I don't like to taste it too much, so I add a little more extra berries to, instead of doing a 50% with the berries and the bananas, I do, if I'm doing a full cup, I do 3/4 of a banana and then fill the rest with blueberries. Because when I was a kid, I loved bananas, but now I cannot stand them on their own. Um, so, and then another smoothie recipe that I have that works exclusively well with almond milk is um, nutmeg with cinnamon and a banana and almond milk. Blend that and deliciousness. So yeah, if I drink chocolate milk, sometimes I go for chocolate almond milk. Um, if the economy is kind of tight, but oftentimes I absolutely, my go-to chocolate milk is the dairy kind. Almond milk is the best. Refuse to drink cow's milk. Gross. Well, sorry, but I have absolutely no issues with the consumption of cow juices, but that sounded so wrong. But see, the thing of it is, dairy milk is kind of optimal for some things compared to other things. Like one time I tried to make oatmeal using almond milk. It did not go well. Whereas with the milk that possesses animal fats in it, it was definitely easier to cook with and get it to boil properly and know how much like salt to add to it. My almond milk, I was never able to get it boiling. Um, Maybe I just needed to wait longer, or I was setting it at the wrong temperature. And what I mean by setting it at the wrong temperature is that if you're not careful with milk, particularly dairy milk, when it starts bubbling, it rises super fast. So I know exactly what setting I need to put it on the stove and for how long to avoid that mess and it possibly catching fire on my burner, you know? So yeah, I don't have issues with milk like that. I have not tried cashew milk, and I hear that it's the bomb. I couldn't fathom the almond milk craze. Milk is milk. Almond milk is not milk, so I was contrary. See, I understand what you're saying. I, s- I was introduced to almond milk only 4 years ago. Um, Prior to 4 years ago, I would have never messed with it. Um, like, I would see it in the aisles, shelf stable and in the refrigerator, but I never considered drinking it. Um, but like I said, someone bought me a smoothie. Then I learned that smoothie recipe, and it did not mention anything about dairy. So I said, I'm gonna try plain almond milk. Plain almond milk is repulsive, but when you mix it with like cinnamon, or if you have good recipes with it, it's pretty good. Coconut milk used to be my go-to milk after almond milk because of having tried almond milk, I opened my um, horizons a bit, and I was like, hmm, or expanded my horizons, and I was like, I need to try all this other mess because if I liked almond milk, which I'm not a big fan of almonds, but if I was able to dig this, I'm pretty sure that I'm missing out on a good experience when it comes to coconut. And I was not wrong. Coconut and chocolate, like chocolate powder, a chocolate mix, coconut milk and a chocolate powder mix is just amazing. I haven't made it in years, but the way I fix a milkshake is I use coconut milk and then a chocolate ice cream, stir it, or throw it on the blender, and add just a very, very like microscopic amount of cinnamon to it, and then a wee drop of vanilla extract, and my life is complete. Mess me up milkshake. So, yep. Let's see. I have purged milk from my diet anyways. I've moved on to heavy cream. Amazing. Heavy cream sells so well, and I have seen it, but I don't really have a plan with it. Like, I don't know how to mess with it. So I need to figure that out because I have been curious about it. The yogurt that I eat is cream top. So all you gotta do is stir it, and the chocolate is on the bottom, and it's just incredible. I have some recipes for drinks, and wheat germ is great. DH, tell me more about wheat germ. What is that? Why do people use that? What is that for? What is it good for? Because I've heard people ask me about it, if we sell that, and yeah, we sell that and whatnot, but I don't know what that's for. And of course, there is this movement of how everybody is suddenly allergic to gluten. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure that someone who's trying to be gluten free wouldn't want wheat germ. So just what is wheat germ? Fill me in if you can, because I totally forgot that that's something that I wanted to um, educate myself on. It's like veggie and oh, guys, my phone is finally saying low battery. Let me close that and I'll plug it in after I read this. It's like veggie and turkey burgers. Why? I shall share my thoughts in a second. Where's my cable? Oh, Jesus. I'm pretty fit. I didn't know that I could do it. Oh, yeah, and I ended up finishing that gallon that I showed you guys. That's how bad I drink water, or how bad I am with drinking water. That stream where we talked about me and my water consumption was whenever I filmed about Justice League, which I saw it last Sunday, which is 6 days ago. It took me 6 days to go through a gallon of water. That's how bad I am with water. And that's why I'm always sick and I'm always here crying to you guys about how bad I feel and da da da. But anyways, I'm young, stupid, whack, lame. I'm just kidding. I love dragging myself. So give me a second while I. This room just needs a better spot for outlets. Now I'm paranoid. I really hope that my phone is plugged in because it doesn't make that sound that it's charging. So if it goes down to 10%, then I'll know that it hasn't been charging. So I will give you guys a heads up if that happens. Let me reaccommodate myself in my throne. I must have a good metabolism because this spot is like so warm. It's like I'm sitting on the sun or something. Exaggerated like that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Veggie and turkey burgers. Why? For your benefit and peace of your soul, I don't like turkey, or excuse me, I don't like veggie burgers because I find them to be either bland or if they have taste, it's like cardboard. Not that I have eaten cardboard, but you can sort of imagine what cardboard would taste like. And also, cooking them is tricky because, at least for me, there is nothing better than letting a beef patty like grill itself. If you were to do that to a veggie burger, it's not the same. So I cannot mess with veggie burgers, but turkey burgers are a different story. If you cook them with olive oil and you add rosemary to them and a pinch of salt, it's excellent. When I lived in my previous apartment, or sorry, two apartments before this one, there was this burger joint that I decided to just try one night with my mom, and that to this day is still officially our favorite place to eat. It's now 2 hours away from me, roughly. And one time I told my boyfriend, dude, do you want to come with me? And the objective is for us to go visit the area that I used to live at, this and that. And he was like, sure. And then I took him over there and he said that he was definitely digging those burgers. I don't think he said they're the best that he has had, but he definitely said that they're up there. And they also had excellent French fries. I tried their turkey burger one time, and after I tried their turkey burger, that was all that I needed in my life. Because I guess the trick is behind your cooking technique. Some people just like to sort of, like, you cook it, but you leave it like that. You don't try to season it. You don't try to play with how it cooks. Some people cook meats like beef and stuff in chicken broth or beef broth, stuff like that. I would have never thought about doing that, because I stay away from broths because of how salty they are. But just if you discover something that you don't like, give it a chance. Try different ways of preparing it. If you try at least three methods and you still don't like it, you just will never like it. Period. That's the way I am with coffee. I have tried black, which was like, ugh, that's what, that's what, if you need to drink or eat anything in the afterlife to ensure your subsistence in the afterlife, coffee to me is like that drink that represents punishment. It was just completely abominable. That was black coffee. Then I have tried coffee with the creamer, of course, and then sugar, and couldn't dig it. Then I tried cinnamon and, of course, sugar and cream, and not having as much coffee. I still couldn't dig it. So the problem is that the kind of coffee that I was able to mess with a little bit, it had too much sugar. So legally, I should not be allowed to to consume that coffee. Let's see. You are actually right, though. I was never good with new things, especially foods. Me either. Like, the time that I started experimenting with foods was when I turned 19 years old. And that's because that's where I started my first and current job. And it involves food. So people were telling me about their diets, and there were books lying around with ideas and everything and other cuisines. And I said, sure, I'll give it a shot. And that was the best decision of my life because I I called myself a mystical eater. Like, if it didn't look a certain way, if it didn't have a certain consistency, if it didn't smell a certain way, if it, like the texture of it, just weird standards that I had. I don't know how I didn't die in my childhood. I just don't know because I just did not eat well. Um, anyways, it's like milk on steroids, and the flavor is incredible. Oh man, I'm going to try some steroid milk. I often drink it raw. Wheat germ has nutritional value as a food supplement source of vegetable proteins, along with fiber and healthy fats. It's also a good source of magnesium, zinc, thiamine, folate, potassium, and phosphorus. Basically, every deficiency that I have in my life. Thanks a lot, DH. Now I'm gonna try it. Does it taste bad? You know how some things really alter the flavor of something? What is wheat germ like? Is it bland? Um, Something else that I see people messing with a lot is nutritional yeast. Do you know anything about that? Um, I used to know about it, but it's been a while. So, oh, there's 6 people watching. I think that's a new record. I don't think I've ever had more than 5 at a time. So, we, where am I? I drink a gallon of water a day. Yes, dude, I remember you don't have to like shove it in my face. Like the fact that I suck at it, you don't have to like rub it in my face, you know? I'm working on it. don't know where my water went. This is so terrible. So I don't know if I told you guys that I go to Planet Fitness. That's the gym that I go to, and that they have a sign that says that you are a lunk if you drink out of a water gallon, or if you wear like those string tank tops or something. There's 7 people now. Really? Where are you guys coming from? Oh my God, I'm so excited. And this increases my anxiety because I cannot find what's keeping me alive, which is my water. Seriously, what did I do with my water? No, I'm gonna freak out. Oh my gosh. Um, yeah, what did I do with it? Maybe it's wrapped in here. Let me just look. Because he who searches always finds. I know I had it wrapped in here, and I was so afraid that I was gonna lose it because this is like such a big comforter. So, and I don't want to be a lunk and drink out of a gallon, but I might need to. Besides, it's for me, so I don't care. But now I'm going to be thinking about the fact that my water bottle is missing in action. Is it behind me? No? Anyways, the show must continue. Um, let's see. Uh, uh, okay. When I used to work out all the time, I did wheat germ with royal jelly. What is royal jelly? Is that the same thing as like peanut butter and jelly? The jelly that we use in peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And other things like beets and other stuff. People at the gym loved my stuff. I was going to sell it to people. It gave them so much energy. Honey, I don't need any more energy than what I naturally have. Like, people ask me, what do you take? What do you drink to have so much energy? And I'm like, effing nothing. This is just naturally how I am. So if I were to try your stuff, I would probably just shoot up like a rocket. But anyways, maybe as I get wiser physically, I might need that and resort to that. But for right now, you just have to trust me when I say that when I am alert and awake and just my conscious is like present and my body is not trying to recover, I am not lacking energy. Just trust me. um that stayed up they stayed up all night. Exactly. I stay up all night as it is, because you guys hear about my stories of I couldn't sleep last night so much. So imagine if I introduced myself to energy stuff or caffeine. Speaking of caffeine, I hate it when people just ask me coffee questions. Like, apparently my forehead reads I am a coffee drinker, because people, they're like mind blown when they find out that I don't drink coffee, and I'm like, I have zero interest in drinking mud. Leave me alone. Let's see. Meat is meat, vegetable is vegetable. These two things for me are not interchangeable. Exactly. That's the only way to take coffee with loads of sugar. Beyond that, I don't get the point. Mix wheat germ with your oatmeal. Wheat germ doesn't have much of a taste. Really? With oatmeal? Oh my gosh, I love oatmeal. I was telling myself that my goal is to 12:46 a.m. Today, for breakfast, I shall have oatmeal and maybe have an oatmeal video. I've never shown you guys how I fix my oatmeal. Speaking of oatmeal, you guys, Grits. Are you offended if someone sweetens them? Let me know. Let's see. Drink water. I have never tried to like drink from a gallon the way I do with a cup, which is my uncontrollable diva status. So fine. Nah, this ain't gonna work. The problem with me drinking water is that I can only do like one sip at a time. I need to learn to just gulp this thing. Like, be passionate about it. um, I'm drinking some right now. Drink, drink, drink. Don't hate I drink out of a gallon of water. See, I should do the same. I have felt so tempted to do the same. But diva problems. I carry a gallon of water around everywhere. I carry my now defunct and missing and disappearing and stolen by ghosts water bottle, which to me is like a lot because I never finish it when I'm out. My boyfriend buys water bottles that are like this big. I guess that's a liter and a half or half a liter or something. And I'm like, I just, I used to do so good about drinking water, but now it's like venom for me. But that is still the only thing that I drink. If I don't have smoothies or chocolate milk. Um, but sometimes I do need a source of sugar, so um, I do like to get sugar from smoothies because that's the only thing I need all day. Royal jelly is a honeybee secretion that, that is used in the nutrition of larvae as well as adult queens. Yeah, queen, yes. I need royal jelly in my life to make me a better queen. Does it taste like honey? Oh, it's nasty royal jelly, but it's so good. Wait, it's nasty, but it's good? You need to pick a side, bruh, because so far I'm not sold on royal jelly, unless it ensured my existence or some crazy junk. So good for you, or the taste is good. I've never had grits. Well, Stan, you need to try mine someday. But things can only be better with sugar. Amen, brother. Like, I have always asked my question, am I more of a sweet person or if I'm more of a salty person? Back in the day, my favorite snack used to be chips, like potato chips, veggie chips, barbecue chips, any kind of chip. But now I opt for sweets a little more. I used to like sweets just as much because like I had zero control with ice cream, and you guys have seen my videos where I have made more videos of sweet items versus salty items. So presently I gravitate more towards sweets because that's really what I prefer. Like my chocolate milk, sweet yogurt, sweet smoothie, sweet. And then when it comes to snacks, it's the holiday season. So, of course, I'm messing with Pass. And what was I going to say? What else is there? Truffles, chocolate truffles, hazelnut chocolate truffles. F me up. For real. Um, I have learned that I don't drink enough water. I have learned I don't drink enough water if it's not in a gallon and if it's room temperature. For me, room temperature water is the way to go unless it is the summer and the water is like 80 degrees. No, no. Um, I guess my optimal water temperature would have to be 60 degrees. But I would have to get a thermometer to make sure that my perception of water's temperature is the same as how I perceive it with my body. Because if I'm outside at any given time, I can tell you exactly what the temperature is. I'm like, oh yeah, it's 67. I get out my phone and it says 67, and so on and so forth. And my cat is crying, so ignore that. I hate drinking cold anything. The body absorbs water better when it's room temperature. You know, I tend to add ice to water when I'm out. Like if I am eating fast food, because I always bring the cup with me. Although I have my now missing cup with me, and it's usually full because you have seen how fantastic at failing to drink water I am. Um, when I have it with a sippy straw, it's like so easy for me to drink. Although I know that drinking from a straw is not really the best way to go, but anyway. Where's my water? Seriously? I don't have water. Oh, I found it! Alright. So, now I'm cold. So, let me wrap myself like a Rito. Okay. Um, tried them both at the same time. Fabulous sprinkle salt on ice cream. There is such a thing as sea salt ice cream. And I'm not a big fan of, excuse me, sea salt caramel ice cream. And I'm not a fan of it because caramel is just. It's really good when it's chocolate and then the caramel is inside of it. But on its own, caramel is like overrated. Like caramel apples. I don't know what people's obsession is with that, but y'all can have it. I'm not interested. Let me make myself comfy. Ugh. All right. Let's see. Ooh, to steer the topic in somewhat of a different direction. The age. I remember you telling me that you understand the investment and mess like that. Let's just ramble about that for a bit. What are the basics of investments? What is the best kind of investment? Like I know there's bonds, there's whatever. Um, but yeah, I am absolutely ignorant at it. The more that I read about it, the more confused I get. So if you have anything that you just want to open up with and introduce me to and just give me a head start on, I would greatly appreciate that because I just want to know how that works and what's happening. So anyways, um, the tongue is designed to taste salt, sweet, bitter, and sour. That's true, Stan, because um, old people if you realize or if you pay attention, they focus on one end of the spectrum. Like my grandma tends to focus on salty stuff. Like when we tell her that something is overwhelmingly salty, to her, she's like, oh, there's not enough salt. And it's because, of course, she has lost some of her taste buds, I guess. Um, but then other people just live for Stan. You're going to love this. 98% dark chocolate. So there goes the bitter people. And then sweetness. I cannot ever mix something sweet with something salty. So, once again, gentle reminder to all of you that whoever came up with the idea of cranberry and turkey together is a monster. Trying two at once is sensory overload. Exactly. I wouldn't say there is a best type of investment. I would say go with mutual funds. AMD. What is AMD? Since you are young, go with a mid to risky. Look into a 401k or IRA. See, I do have my employer offers the 401k thing. Um, and I have a paper sitting on the floor, like right there, because I was reading it. I've been reading it for a few days now, just rereading it and rereading it, and I'm like, just how does this mess work? So, yeah. A mutual fund has a mix of stocks and bonds, but you can balance it out. Advanced micro devices. I have never heard of such a thing, Stan. Thanks for providing food for the brain. Look at a 401k or Roth IRA as a garage you want to store things in. 11.38 per share. 401k is nice, but you need to ask your company if you was to leave if you can transfer it. Yeah, okay, that makes sense because I know that I remember hearing someone discussing this. And one of the letters said something about it. Some of the terms changing or something. So I'm guessing that since benefits never change in your favor, that what they're going to say now is that they're no longer transferable. You want to try to save 12% or best if you could. Sounds familiar. I remember someone throwing a similar number like that. Um, okay. Man, you guys remember earlier in the stream how I was talking about being a broken person and how hard it is to repair that? Well, when it comes to investment, since it's something that I am terribly ignorant at, it's like since now I'm just older and now I'm trying to understand it, I don't learn that type of thing as well as I used to. So now it's like repairing an ignorant person is just painful. Which is hard for most people. 15-20 cap, a lot of growth in AMD. Yeah, I've been doing it for years. A lot to learn for real. So, I guess this type of thing, well, yeah. I guess I would have to ask my employer then, because I'm like, how do I throw money into the investment? Does it get taken out of a paycheck? Do I have to physically like call something or go on the computer and be like, take, I don't know, $15 out of my account every so and so forth? Like, I've never done this. Gets taken out of your check. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because since open enrollment is up, I remember seeing a section that mentioned 401k, and it said, if you elected, then how much allowance do you want on it? on every paycheck. Okay, that's what that means. Most jobs have it set up. I believe mine does because even though I have never called about this or um, changed my contribution, I have a few bucks in it. Like maybe it's like $40 in it. And I'm like, how am I making $40 when I have never put a dime on it? But I think that the minimum couldn't be zero. It had to be like 0.1% or something like that. Most people can't do it on their own. It's better for most people that way. Better to set up and forget about it. If you don't see the money, you won't miss it. Exactly. Um, that's the thing that I like about, I used to like about cash. It's like just have the money that you need because the money that you don't physically have or see is money that you can't spend. All right. Um, dang. I'm just trying to come up with a plan on how to just start investing. Because I guess the thing that intimidated me about investing is that I saw that it's something that consists of risks. I know that life is really a massive risk, but when it comes to money, it's like I'm like my paycheck suffices for stuff right now, but I know that I really should be striving for getting more. But then since it's like a gambling, I felt like I could not afford to be sending money to something that can cause for it to get lost. But at the same time, if I focus on the positive, which is this mug can multiply, then. But like I said, this is the most I have discussed investment, like this convo right now. So mitigate risk with research 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. Everything is a risk, but here is the thing, don't withdraw early unless you need to. If you withdraw early, you will get a tax penalty that you would have to pay each year. What? But it's my money. I was going to start throwing that argument. If you withdraw early, you will get a tax penalty. Wait, is that the thing that they say that you shouldn't touch until you're like 68 and a quarter years old or 58? And one time I read a document that said something about, oh, okay, are you saying yes to that being 60 something and you can't touch it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So see, like I said, I have honestly tried to read this and figure it out, but yeah. Let me see, what did my boy Stan say? Um, the banks don't like people to withdraw. Let me guess, because when you use a bank, you're giving them your money and you think that your money is there, but it's not there because the bank is loaning it. That's how they make money. So the bank is trying to discourage you from touching that money so that they have more money to play with. They're just saying that when you ask for, say, withdrawing $100, that it's gonna be there. But in reality, I sort of understand the business of a bank. It's just that I don't exploit my potential. Check price, dates, and try to correlate events to anticipate future performance. I've heard about that. I heard something about how people sometimes panic and they try to withdraw some of their capital or something when the stocks are doing poorly. But then someone was saying that when the stocks are going down, that's when you should invest. But then I also heard that when stocks are doing well, that's when people start investing, and for some reason, that's a mistake. And because I'm a dummy, I'm gonna shut up before I dig myself in trouble. Oh, I'm right? Oh, what do they mean by that then? Because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, don't invest when the stock is doing well. I love this. I needed this conversation because it's like I have the little pieces, and now it's like you guys are putting the pieces in order for me to like get it. Um, let's see. Yes, you are right about the bank statement. Under some rules, you can withdraw. Let me explain that. That's exactly it. Banks are allowed to loan 10 times more money than they have. If you are buying a house for the first time, you can withdraw without getting the penalty. Maybe they're correct. If everyone were to withdraw all of their money at the same time, the banks would collapse because they don't actually have your money. What if everyone were to withdraw all of their money at the same time? The banks would collapse because they don't actually have your. Okay, okay, gotcha. Let me explain that also there are two types of traders, bullish and bearish traders. I've never heard of that. It's best to buy when the stock is going down. You want to buy stocks at their lowest point and try to get 15% profit. Past trends don't mean anything. Don't get it twisted. People that buy when stocks are down means that you are a bearish trader. The big movers dumping millions are the bullish traders. Yeah, I sort of get it. um, the big movers dumping millions are the bullish traders. The rich people are the bullish ones unless you are a day trader. You won't be able to keep up. This is what they won't tell you. Exactly. Look at me. I'm pitiful. Like, I'm only understanding, like, maybe 10.2% of what you guys are saying. Um, let's see. Bull markets are when the markets are active. Bear markets are when the markets are not active. Because bear because bears hibernate. Is that it? Is that it? And bulls are always like, you know, ready to charge at you, right? Right? Oh, that's the way I learn. I make silly associations. Trust me, I was going to be a day trader, and you have to have 25 grand at least in the account just to start. I guess I guess that's I've seen people who have BB&T, and I've noticed that their cards have different colors sometimes. And then I went on the website, and the golden card that I kept looking at said elite. And I think elite, in order for you to have an elite account, you have to have like 25 grand and over. So maybe that's it. $10,000. Okay, you're right. Okay. Yeah, $10,000 then. And you have to do it full time as a job. That would depress me so much because one of the things that I hate working with in life is money. That's why I do the job that I do, because if I struggle with something or am challenged by something, I like to expose myself to it so that I'm not intimidated by it. So that's why we having this conversation right now. You don't actually lose all your money. It's possible to buy something that will lose value, leaving you with less than you started with. People that place trades in don't automatically get put into the system. I'm so lost and confused. I'm helpless. You guys just Just leave me alone. I'll just, if it comes down to it, I'll just be a beggar or something. I have the garments for it, but this is hard. This reminds me of when I was in high school and I was getting ready for final exams for math. And I would go to tutoring, even though I wasn't flunking any class. I like to go to tutoring so that I could get as much practice as I could. And this little mini anxiety and frustration and blank mindedness that I have right now is exactly how I felt like back then. Um, People that place trades, but you don't have to invest the whole 10. You just need 10 to open the account. Exactly. Realistically, in modern days, who has 10K in there sitting around like effing nobody from the lower class? If you learn brackets, you can time everything. Learning Fibonacci retracement is a good thing to know. What? TD Ameritrade has an app that lets you play with fake money so you can oh. Send that to me in an email because when the stream is over, the comments do not get saved. Ameritrade, and I don't have anything to write with handy. Isn't that crazy? I used to be a freaking writer, and now give a sister a pen. Anyways, Fibonacci retracement is a method of technical analysis for determining support and resistance levels. What? um, Method, technical analysis for determining support and resistance level. Okay. What is a resistance level? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I my knowledge on this is not what feeds me because I'm just so told you that I have learned a lot. Well, I am so glad that you're here and that you're not watching Scarface and that you're here with me and with good old Stan. And you guys are just opening my brain to this because I have hope for myself. Like I don't have to just remain in the dirt forever. I just gotta take the time, not be intimidated, be patient, and ask my questions and do my homework, which is read everything and play with that Ameritrade app and get with my employer and talk about 401k and edit it and actually call the number and monitor it. But you guys, I barely even monitor my comment section, which is conveniently in my pocket, and all I have to do is be literate so that I can read that mess. How am I supposed to analyze stocks and all that? I can't do it. I'm just not. I don't have skills. I don't have the knowledge. I just don't know. All right, like, you guys ever get like this weird feeling in your head when you're learning something new? It's like your brain matter is changing in size, shape, weight, texture, consistency, and everything. It's like that's how my head feels like right now. I don't know if it's because I've been up since like 6:30 a.m. and this is all marinating in my brain and this is too much, like a load of info for me to begin to absorb past midnight, but but I feel like at least I learned something. Start with what you like and follow the trail. It can be fun. Yep, that's why I like learning. For example, you like Halo Top? Stan. This is the second time that I tell you that I tolerate Halo Top, but it's not necessarily like is too much of a big word for it. So you would have to be specific. You would have to say, remember how you enjoy two particular Halo Toppy flavors? Well, follow that. Um, find out who makes Halo Top because you like it. Then check their share price. The reason I'm silent is because I'm having another flashback of something that I heard. What was it? This is why I need to edit my videos so heavily because I'm in the middle of my sentence and then like it's like something snaps in my head and I'm like trying to recollect it, but I'm struggling. And what's triggering my moment is Stan saying, um, find out who makes it and check their share price. I love how you put that in caps. For example, but Stan, you're still wrong because you're using as an example a false fact, which is saying that I like Halo Top. But in your defense, you're only saying that I like it. You're not saying that I love it. Then check past and future events to see the effect on the share price. I'm still not recollecting my thought very well. So I'm just gonna put it to rest. But if something, if a product is selling well, and we establish that um, you want to invest when the stocks are low or whatever, does that mean that if a product does well, does that affect the stock value? I would assume so. And I usually say the reason I ask is da da da, but I forgot what I was gonna say about the reason I ask is da da da. um. Also, tell me about Wall Street and what does it mean for stocks to go up or down at that level? Because um, like sometimes people freak out that Nasdaq is going down and Dow Jones or something. What is that, or who is Dow Jones? If that's a person, maybe it's just a name to name something. Sometimes, but not always. For example, Microsoft normally has a low stock, but Apple has a high one. If a product does well, share price increases, but depending on how much money you have, it can narrow your profit margin. Okay, let me explain a lot of questions. Well, on the plus side, when I ask a lot of questions, that means that I'm engaged and I'm getting it slowly but certainly. Last night, my boyfriend and I were discussing like some Bible stuff and spiritual stuff. And of course, I had more questions than he had answers. And he seemed to be getting like frustrated or annoyed by it. And then I told him, I'm not trying to shred you or roast you or try to put your knowledge to the test. If you don't know something, just say that you don't know something. When I ask a question, I understand that you may not know the answer to something. So just let me know and that'll motivate me to look up the answer, but just don't get defensive about it. Um, let's see. Then anticipate your gain or loss. Simple, sometimes, not always. Okay, I read that already. Dow is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. A good site to check out is MarketWatch. They track the share prices of the most important companies in the American economy. Dow Jones has 30 top company. So, guys, I have heard people say this phrase a lot, which is small businesses are the heartbeat of America. I can infer what that means, but what does that mean? Like, can you guys define it for me? Cause, yeah, we just mentioned stuff about important companies, um, you know, being tracked and whatnot, their share prices. Well, what is the share price for a small business? Um, uh, Dow Jones only has 30 top companies. SP 500 indexes make. Some people don't seem to think the Dow index is relevant, but me personally, I don't use. Nasdaq is a big company. They say small businesses are the heart, but not all companies are on the market. Pick a business, what you like. Oh, okay, I get it. So just because something is a business doesn't mean that they are investing in the stock market. I guess that's what you mean. Your company has to go public to be on the stock market. Oh, see, before I read that, I answered my own question. Or maybe I don't know if your comment came while I said that or before I said that, but yay, I was able to make the connection. The issue with going public is everyone buys into your stock means they own part of your company. Yes. However, it's not really a big deal because I mean, I think up there at the top, it's like I would imagine that they have like their social clique because this is not average folk stuff. Like I wouldn't be able to invest that load of money to be able to own part of a company. Um, and when you only have a small percentage, you don't have a say over anything. So it's like the club of the people who have the greatest percentage. Um, you know, sorry, I'm having another vision. I imagined a pie chart, and I'm thinking there is this company, and then let's say that two people found it. So 50%, 50% Mr. A, 50% Mrs. A. And then eventually they get more people to support their business. So let's say two more people join. So it's divided by fourths now. Although that's not guaranteed because, say, if this is based on $100,000, the first two founders maybe invested like 25 grand both, but then the third person may invest like another 30 grand, and then the fourth person may only invest 20 grand. So it's not an even pie chart. But the point I'm trying to make that I was visualizing is that average folks investing, it's like this pie chart is too small to be able to divide the grand scale of the millions of people who have like 401k investment, because you know the folks I know at work who invest in 401k, just because they invest in it and they can say, yeah, I own part of the company, doesn't mean that they can change policies and junk. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the club of the people who have the big bucks. It's like, it's going to be hard to get on the equal playing field with them, you know? Um, no, I meant choose a product and I'll show you the trick. There are two kinds of stock: voting stock and non-voting stock. You are the shareholder and you trust them with your money, if that makes sense. Yeah, I kind of get that. Look at Apple. When it started off years ago, the stock was 800 for one stock. Now it's 174. The owners of the company have voting stock. Normal people buy non-voting stock. Like Google, Spotify, Alphabet, Inc. went up, and there are over 1,000 of stock. Is it bad that I didn't know that Google isn't its own thing and the parent company is Alphabet? I thought that Google is the father of Google. Apple started at 50 cents in 1982. Current share price is 174. Stan, did that adjust for inflation? Like the 50 cents from now is definitely not the 50 cents from back then, right? So 174 now, back then would have been what? You don't need to answer that. I'm just trying to be really complicated. There is just so much that my brain is trying to like make sense of right now. But yeah, no initial price offering 50 cents. Okay. Interesting. Alphabet Inc. is an American multinational conglomerate created in a corporate restructuring of Googler. I know that there is a corporation, there is a small business, there is a conglomerate, there is an LLC, there is all that nonsense. In other words, I'm trying to ask what a conglomerate is. And I should know this because I took a marketing class when I was in 10th grade, and it had business aspects to it, and I totally made 100% in the final exam. So um, they have so many companies, they buy up all the smaller companies. Yeah, that's why they say that things like Amazon are a huge threat now. Especially the fact that they bought like a supermarket. Now that means that they are introducing their brand and influence to a new industry. Therefore, their empire is like Pac-Manning everything on its way, like waka, 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 waka. It's frightening. If you had purchased Apple in, I guess that's 1982, you would have made $173 per share. Look at Facebook, they own WhatsApp and other things. Really? Gosh, I'm so behind. I used to be good about keeping track of who owns what, but now I don't read those details as much as I used to. Inflation doesn't apply. Conglomerate is a multi-industry company. Okay. Combination of two or more corporations engaged in entirely different businesses that fall under one corporate group. Okay, I remember that now. The best way to get all the money is to own all of the competition. Yeah, of course. And to do that, you really need to be one greedy bastard. Oculus VR is owned by Facebook. I feel like I heard that, or that I recall that. All right. Once again, my like I can feel my brain matter just. I'm gonna wake up this morning like Megamind. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. it should be evident right now that I'm behaving kind of sluggish, and that I'm kind of having a hard time like keeping up and formulating sentences, and also staying hydrated. And of course, as we anticipated, I failed at drinking this. And you might say, well, Sam, you're still online, so you should go ahead and drink the rest of your water while you're with us. And to that, I'm gonna say that's gonna take another hour. And in another hour, I will be like knocked out. So, um, Oculus Rift is a virtual reality headset. Yeah, I had seen ads about it. Go to bed. Oh, trust me, I'm going to bed and I'm going to sleep like a queen because it's pretty chilly in my room, and and it's chilly in my room, and I just yeah. Um, Today my day wasn't bad. It was just since I had been working for so many consecutive days, I was just looking forward to today. Um, in the evening, like when I get off work, because I'm like, I just need my space. I need my day off. And I had to work consecutively through a holiday, and then during the holiday, do more social activities that I'm like, man, I don't want to seem antisocial and stuck up, but it's just that me in social situations, I'm just not good. So if the four of us, or the four of you who are watching me right now, if we were hanging out together, I would probably not be saying a thing. Like right now, I have control of the situation, or so I feel like, because I'm like the star of the show and I'm just watching myself and I'm used to myself. But if we were all like hanging out at the same time, it would be so awkward for me at first. So I don't want to lie to you. If for some reason I were to ever meet any of you, um, yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. Like, if I meet you on a one on one, it's going to work for sure, but like a group of people, it's like, no. And sometimes when I meet people on ones and I met them online, transitioning is so awkward because I'm like, wait, I know you, but this is the first time I actually meet you, you know? Um, so yeah, to me that's just it's crazy. Just thought that I would ramble. I'm kind of reserved myself. Well, welcome to the Reserved Club. All right, guys. Well, I think this is a really good stopping place. Thanks so much for showing up. I truly had a blast. I went over some good stuff that I wanted to go over. And then this brain frying, charbroiling, and grilling of my, you know, business and investment questions. I needed this conversation because I was starting to get discouraged again just because I didn't get it. And I'm not gonna lie, I probably am only going to retain like 10% of what was said tonight, but at least I'll have it in the back of my head, and um, I'll be able to do something with the information that I have. So, but yeah, that's the thing. When I learn something new, it's like I space out and zone out because like my brain is trying to, it's doing its thing, like letting it cook. So, but anyways, all right, guys. As I was saying, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon. I really need to start having a new dismissal because dang, that's old. Bye.